with Brother Bill before, right? And Bill says he heard on a message one time, it's a 5 to 10 second. That's the crucial point. When you see the need, Sam, when you see the need, 5 to 10 seconds to then make a decision to act upon it. Why? Because in that first 5 to 10 seconds, you're either going to decide, am I going to do this or am I not going to do this? I think the priest, he saw the need, and his first thought was, get thee behind me, Satan. Right? How many times do we pray that? We see a need, and we're like, I'm going to pray for you. Good luck. See, I got to go. I'm on my way to do something more important. Then the next person. So to a Levite, he came down to a place and saw him and passed by on the other side. It's easy to do nothing. But it's dangerous to do nothing. Bill Lane came and he tilled our garden the other day, and I felt like there's so many illustrations that you could use in a garden. Right? Pretty soon we're going to go through the whole planting. So he's tilled it up, and we're going to plant it, we're going to water it, we're going to love it, right? It's easy for me to do nothing after we plant it and water it. It's easy, right? But then what happens to the garden? I do not know why weeds grow so well. Right? I'm like, I just wish like the vegetables would grow as well as the weeds. I think if you go and read in Genesis, there's a reason for that. In your relationships with your friends, it's easy to do nothing. Right? But what happens to that relationship? It erodes. It falls apart. It's easy to do nothing in a marriage. Right? I tell everybody time and time again, when I first got married, Amanda was my trophy wife. Right? I wooed her and I pursued her. I mean, the restraining order, it like ran out and I was still there. Just kidding, it really wasn't a restraining order. She finally realized I might as well marry this person because he ain't going away. But then this is what usually happens. She's my trophy wife, right? Because after I got the hunt and I went, bang! I was ready just to like stuff her and down her on the wall. Right? I don't want to do anything else. Why? Because I got it on lockdown, right? She's married. Like, now we have a couple kids. And if I don't do anything, guess what happens to our marriage relationship? It falls apart. How many times have I sat across people in a counseling session and I'll say, tell me your interests. Tell me the things that you guys do together. Tell me about your date nights. And they're like, well, you don't know any of that. You know, my friend, and she hangs out with her friend. And you wonder why you're ready to get a divorce. Well, we have irreconcilable differences. I don't like what she wants to do, and she doesn't like what I want to do. It's easy to do nothing, but it's dangerous. That's the point of the Levite, right? At least the priest, right? If I was to give my account, if I was at least the priest, Jesus, you don't understand. The Levite walked on the other side of the road. I mean, at least I was like, hey, are you okay? Like, I'll be praying for you. I mean, the Levite was like, woo! That guy's about ready to die. I'm going to come over here. You see that, right? He crossed on the other side of the road. And this message of they, who are they? We ask the question, how many times do we start to lock eyes with people and we start to get the little thought in the back of our mind, God may call me to do something, I just ain't going to look up. Because if I don't look up, I won't see them. And then Jesus says there's the Samaritan. Right? Kind of the apex. Or the culmination. And when I started going through, I'm like, what can we do to get the right idea of the hatred between the Samaritans and the Jews? It would be like a Native American seeing a cowboy on the side of the road. Or a Native American seeing an Englishman on the side of the road. You're the very people who are killing my people. You are the culmination of somebody who's driving me from my land, and you want to sell me the land that's already mine and put me on a reservation. It would be like a Jew stopping and seeing Adolf seeing Bill Clinton. Right? Or me seeing Tom Brady on the side of the road. Right? I wouldn't cross over. I'd probably give him a swift kick in his behind and then run away. Take that for beating us all those years. But I'm not going to stop and do something for him. Right? You start to get the idea. This wasn't just a dislike. It was a hatred between the Jews and the Gentiles, between the Jews and the Samaritans. Because the Samaritans, or the Jews, were God's chosen people, and they had violated that relationship with God, and they started to intermarry the very people that God said, don't do that. The Jews would look at the Samaritan and call them half-breeds. You're half Jew and half someone else. You're the mutt of society. So I can imagine the murmurings, right? They've probably been like a couple, Jesus, do you really have to talk about the Samaritan? Yes, why? Because they're polar opposites. And yet the priest and the Levite, the two people who should have stopped and done something because it was Jew on Jew, right? But here, you flip this, the polar opposites, and it was the guy who was the polar opposite, the least likely to stop. Stopped. And he had compassion. And we see that word and compassion. Compassion international. I don't have compassion for you. We don't know what compassion is. In the original language, it wasn't an emotive type emotion. It wasn't, I know in my head I should do something. It isn't in my heart I'm motivated to do something. It's deep down the very essence of who I am. God, I see this person who's in need, and I have to do something. We've been doing this thing called soulship. To me, that's the measure of a life transformed. When we see somebody who's in need, what's our initial response? None of my head tells me, my pastor said I should do something. It's not in my heart going, I should do something. It's looking at going, if nobody, I'm here and God has uniquely placed me for this opportunity to help this person. It's what I believe. The second thing that I realized is there was contact. Life-on-life contact. Everybody else, he just ran by. But he stopped. He touched him. Then there was care. You notice that? Bandaged his wounds. It wasn't like he was mad at him, dumping wine on his head. Healing ointment was the wine. And the salve for his wounds. Here's the big one. Are you ready? Because I think, again, for most of us, we'd say, okay, I get it, Pastor. I want God to uniquely put people in my place so I can have compassion. And I can care for them and have contact with them. Last week, remember, it's to be in the midst of and to ache for. It cost him something. I think when Jesus told this message, as he's given this parable, don't miss the fact that it cost him something. How many of the Jews that would have been there that day, and maybe the Gentiles who were on the fringes, would hear this message? And you'd say, I can do all the other stuff. I just don't want it to cost me anything. And Jesus is like, man, to be a disciple, your very life may be dependent on, maybe called upon. I heard one biblical scholar say 2 denarii would be similar to $200. So he was given $200. Care for this man. And a lot of times we stop there, right? Stop there before. He puts him on the donkey, and you know where he takes him? To an innkeeper, the helping host. And I was having a conversation with my mother-in-law, and I said, I've read through this parable time and time again, and I've never seen that. And I said, do you know who I think the helping host is? It's the church. It's the church. So the question is, who are we? Are we going to be a priest or a Levite? I pray for you. I'm willing to let somebody else do it. I'll come alongside you and have compassion and care and contact. But God, if it starts to cost me something, that's a deal breaker. And then after we've done life, and we've prayed for them, and we've helped bandage their wounds, do we bring them into the helping host? Church, I believe, this is the reason why I'm a pastor. I believe the local church is the hope of the world. It's not the government, right? When I see, we're like, well, maybe if we get a good president. No. Well, maybe if we, elected to Congress and Senate and the Supreme Court. No. It's you and it's me. And it's having this transformation to be Samaritan-esque. To have compassion. And we have to stop and we have to help. It's to care, to have contact. And you know what? When you hang out with the least and the last and the lost, it will cost you something. It will cost you time. Or it will cost you some money. But this is what I've realized. When you start to go from this idea of consumer to steward, that God, you've given me all this stuff. I'm just going to give it to other people. And guess what happens when you start to give it to other people? Like you get more stuff. And you kind of laugh, right? And you say, I'm just going to give more stuff away. Jesus said, who was the neighbor? This Jewish lawyer couldn't even bring himself to say the word Samaritan. Did you notice what he said? The one who had compassion. And I can imagine Jesus chuckles. Go and do likewise. If I ask you, do you love God? You'll probably say yes. But if I ask you, do you love your neighbor? I asked somebody that this week. Do you love your neighbor? And he's like, oh! I have this privacy. And he went through this whole thing. He said, I don't like him at all. But do you love God? Yes. But do you love your neighbor? Oh! Because we think that we can fulfill the greatest commandment, to love God with everything. Right? And we think we're doing a pretty good job. There's also this great commission. The very last thing that God says before he leaves in the form of a human Jesus, he says this: go into the world and teach and preach and baptize. When I read this story, we have to do this great commandment, love God with everything. But we can't love God with everything until we love other people. How can you love a God whom you can't see? I love a God who I can't see, but I don't love my neighbor who I can see. If anyone boasts, I love God, and goes right on hating his brother or sister, thinking nothing of it, he's a liar. If he won't love the person he can see, how can he love God whom he can't see? The command we have from Christ is blunt. Loving God includes loving other